Smaller is better than gone. Smaller is better than gone. That's a quote from TRG's CEO, Jill Robinson, from today's TRG 30. And the point of that is to say, we are all, you are all, as an arts and entertainment industry, going through some really painful things right now. You're having to cut staff, cut artists, shrink your seasons from 12 productions to 4. And you're going through a bit of a grieving process for sure. And Jill's point to us through that quote today was to say the alternative is that you would not be here. Your organization would not be here. So smaller is better than gone. It's hard. Allow yourself the grieving process, but know that the alternative is to not be around at all. I'm Keri Mesropov. I'm the president of TRG, and for today's TRG 30, we were joined by Zannie Voss, who is the director of data arts at Southern Methodist University. And Jill and Zannie have co-authored a white paper called In It for the Long Haul. And that paper provided a bit of a scaffolding for our conversation today in TRG 30, and really asks us to pivot from the triage crisis in grief mode place that we are today to look out beyond the horizon and begin to make plans for the long haul. And I would boil down the key points from today's TRG 30 in the four questions that Zannie and Jill asks you as leaders, executive leaders, leaders of marketing, fundraising, box office, finance, to consider and really ponder and plan around as you prepare for the long haul and to plan for the long haul. The first question is, what is your source of strength? What is your organization's place of shine, as I like to call it? What is your greatest place of asset? And how do you amplify that? How do you underscore that and boldface that and do more of that? What is your source of strength to focus attentions on now more than ever? More resources, more time put there. The second question was, how will you manage and generate your revenue? Many of you are already doing that differently, and it will have to be different, especially for the short term, but notably for the long term. Where are your revenue streams coming from that they didn't before? And what are the projections and plans that you're putting around those? And what are the resources that you're putting into generating those streams of income? This is not a time to pull back investments from the places that return revenue to your organization. And how are you thinking creatively about where revenue comes from at this time? The third is, how will we inspire our people? There were so many questions on the chat from our TRG 30 today about this, and that is, how do I keep people motivated? My tank is drained. How do I inspire my people? Listen, we do this every day at TRG, and it's a daily task, I'll tell you. And the best thing to do is to let people out of their boxes. Use this as a time to not think about hierarchy, not overthink in terms of hierarchy, but to recognize the particular strengths that people bring to this time. Where are people shining that you can lift them up and push them out and let them activate and let them go? Inspire them to do their very best work in the places that they are naturally gifted and skilled, no matter where they sit on your tree. And the last question was, when our doors open, whom will we gather? This is a place to think about the ambitions we've had as an industry, as an organization that you've had to diversify your audiences. So when you open, and even in advance of reopening, how are you thinking about reflecting your community? Does your organization and the art that you put on stage reflect your community? How can we think about diversity of thought being brought into our staff teams? How can we think about our audiences and our participants and our internal internal staff differently. So when we do reopen fully, we can do that with openness and a different way of that which we've always done. So those are the 4 questions that I'd have you and encourage you to be thinking about as you look out and you get in this game for the long haul. That's super important. And don't be afraid of smaller, because smaller means that you are still here and you're not gone. Thanks so much, and hope to see you at next week's TRG 30.